Hello and welcome to London Players Guild. I am your Guildmaster Scott Sedman, and today I am joined by the one, the only Peter. How are you doing, sir?
I'm alive. I've been awake for approximately 7 hours now.
That's good. That means you're ready to talk the ultimate deck. And
Of course I am.
we were deciding, is it worth it? And we're breaking it down into three criterias of monetary value, is it fun, and how many should you get. So we're gonna, without further ado, we're gonna get straight into it and the monetary value aspect of it. Peter, let's talk about it.
Well, monetary aspect is, let's start with the base price. The base price, the MSRP, if you prefer. So the suggested price is £20 or $20 or €20, depending where in the world you are.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to be affected by customs changes. But you should be able to pick one up for approximately 20. So that's the base point. You were running the numbers, so you should have all the numbers available for you.
Yeah.
I think there was 3 or 4 cards that were the bulk value of the cards.
Yeah, so we're looking at the reprints here, which is 2 Toa. No, 2 Topper. That's yeah, I'm looking directly at a picture of Toa. I can't help it. I'm simping for Toa. That's a sentence I've said in 2021. So it's the 2 Toa, it's the 2 Freezer Imperial something or other. We did this last time we recorded this video. 2 Protector of the People and 2 Black Mass Saiyan in foil. Which comes to around €45 on card market, 45, €50. That's not factoring in shipping. If you include all of the reprints and shipping, it's around €80. So based on that alone, the value proposition is quite obvious that this is worth the money, because that's not including the new cards, because at the time of us recording this video, the new cards don't have prices.
Yeah, the new cards don't have prices. We can easily assume some values on them, because that's usually for the starter deck cards, depending how good this is going to be, right? But besides the cards you mentioned, there's quite a few other cards that are still playable. And I need to turn off my other screen. Sorry, I got distracted there because colorful things started moving, and I started looking there. So there are other things like the Dark Broly's are still playable. Power Bursts are still playable. They might not be the expensive bits, but they are playable, and people might want it to blink out the deck. So you can get, €1 here or there. For
definitely.
Those cards as well. That's where the value comes in, because the important thing here is the whole deck comes in foil.
Yes. 100%. It's so nice. It's all this nice silver foil treatment. It looks absolutely magnificent. If you go to our channel, you can see me opening the ultimate deck early. And if you want to go and check out Senzu Pop's channel as well, he also got the ultimate deck. So there you go. If you want to see the deck early in your hands, in hands of people who love looking at shiny cards, then you can do that and see the comparison. I do compare the 2 Dark Broly's in the set with the silver foiling versus the actual set foiling. It's a slight difference. I don't think it matters too much for the people who just want a full rarity deck. It's not going to make or break your decision, but there is a slight difference. Slightly.
Yeah.
Tiny difference.
On top of all of that, you also get the booster pack, which has a chance to get that super rare or SPR, or if you're really, really lucky, a secret.
Yes, that's true.
But let's do not hope for the secret, right?
I mean, don't hope for it, but if you pull the boost secret...
then you're going to go bananas, right?
Yes. The best ultimate deck opening of all time.
The secrets are worth over €100, so you're going to be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. Again, and even if you count in base number of it, it's €4 for a booster pack. Yeah. So essentially 16.
The deck is like 16, yeah.
Which is a expansion price here in the UK.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is good considering you get all of this.
Yeah.
So I think on the monetary side of things, we both can agree it's very much worth it.
Definitely.
And you've got things like the Majin Buu, the Dark Broly, and probably the Janemba that'll see play outside of this deck.
Yeah. I think Frieza could see play outside as well.
Lots of options.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting cards there. Definitely, this is an archetype that's going to see support in the future, because we are still in that Xeno era, and they just prolonged the Unison Warrior by additional 2 sets.
Mm-hmm.
So we are expecting more non-black Xeno characters in the future sets.
Yep.
So if you are just getting into the game and you don't want to spend too much money, this is a very good investment, because then there's only single cards you need to pick up and you can continue on with this deck. It might not be the top tier, but you will be able to have a lot of fun with this.
Yes.
And this is something that's definitely... Yeah, let's go to the fun, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a perfect segue into talking about how fun it is to pick up this deck off the shelf and play with it. Like you said there, Xena, we're in this Xena timeline, very much exploring heroes right now, which is my jam. I'm slowly becoming known as the heroes guy. It just kind of happened. At first I was simping for Bardock, and now we're here and we're in heroes, and I'm doing explained videos on Mecha Kabura, characters that people didn't know existed until this card game, which is a good thing.
I still don't know, but sure.
You should watch that video, Peter. It goes quite in depth on Mecha Kabura, you know. But yeah, so this is really cool. You get to see fan favorite villains reconstituted in a different form with different things. So the best thing about the Dragon Ball Super card game to me is playing with the characters I love and just being like, I don't like, it doesn't have to be the best deck, but I'm going to have so much fun getting Majin Buu out and then dropping the Majin Buu that's been absorbed, Deborah absorbed, and then also the secret rare, which is Janemba absorbed, and it's just like, this is so cool to me, and then this deck lets me do that. That's amazing. Yeah, so...
But as far as the fun goes, I think it's very important to point out that this is not a mid-range deck that would be a deck for everyone. No. This is way more slower deck, control deck. This is a deck that is trying to, if not kill you in one turn, then damage you severely in one turn. But most likely it's going to try to kill you in one turn, because everyone's going to be self-awakening, going down on life, and then it's just going to come in and swoop the last 4 of your life. And I think that's the target of the deck. So I think that in that regard, this deck is not something... Like, to give you an idea, you have an aggro deck, which are usually very cheap, so those don't need, a product like this. Those are usually very cheap, you can pick it up quickly, but you need to know what you're picking up, because you're picking up singles from a vast array of cards.
Yeah.
So ideally, you just pick up a deck list for Gohan Reboot or Vegex and just build that deck, right? Then you have control decks, which is the opposite of the spectrum. They're trying to slow it down as much as possible. Like, for example, the Blue Baby, shout out to Silk, who's the resident baby player, right? And those are usually ending up very expensive, because all the best cards that stop your opponent are going to be in a high slot. They need to be restricted in some way. So those decks will end up being very, very expensive. And I agree that they should have a product like Ultimate deck. But the sweet spot is the mid-range deck. Mid-range deck is that sweet spot in between control and aggro, where you want to either go aggressive or go slow.
Yeah.
Ultimate deck doesn't feel, for what I played with it, does not feel like a mid-range deck. Mostly because in Dragon Ball you do not have the sweet spot that could be a mid-range deck.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment, at least right now. But
yeah, at least in how the game stands right now, you do not have that spot that could be considered mid-range. You either go full face or you go full control.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of the meta. At least currently, we'll know more when Vicious Rejuvenation drops and everything starts to get
we'll
felt
know
out
more
again.
when we have proper events at some point, because
it is what it is. The world right now is it's chaos.
Zawaldo!
Zawaldo! I
just love the Japanese pronunciation of that.
It's so good. So again, but as a deck, if you pick this up, I think you have I think as long as it is, like you mentioned, in line with your playstyle, you can get a lot of fun out of this just off the £20. Pick it up and play.
I think it's amazing if you really like the characters,
yeah,
or if you're a control or gimmicky player. If you like gimmicky decks, I think you would have a lot of fun with this. So myself, I would probably pick them up if I could play with someone.
Yeah.
At this point, I can't play with anyone, so I'm probably not going to pick it up. But if this is something you enjoy and you still live with friends that you can play with, for example, even, then yeah, that's definitely something you should look into if this is your style.
Yeah, I think so, and I think a lot of people do like that gimmickness of Dragon Ball. Like we see a lot of people pick up on those gimmick decks.
I think a lot of people like the gimmicks of multicolors that don't have specified costs, because we've seen AOD being really popular. Because
I was about to mention AOD was huge for a hot minute, and this very much feels like AOD 2.0, but not like, but with the actual. This has been building for
with actual support.
Three sets now. It's been slowly building.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about how fun that is narratively following this, and if you knew where this was going, and this is like a culmination point, but it's not the end point, which is also really fun to me as a fan.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
The one thing I'm going to point out is the huge regret on this deck. They could have reprinted Toa from expansion set.
Yeah, I think we both agree on that. Like, it's a card that very much is needed for this deck.
This deck does not function properly without it. You have exactly one opener if you don't play Toa, and that's going into Dark Shenron Unison and then into Slug Blocker.
Yeah.
That's your only opener in this deck as it stands right now.
As the product itself, yeah. Thankfully, the expansion Toa is not expensive, so if you guys need to go and pick up those now. Again, you see that in the opening video I did. I brought out my 4 Toas and was like, get these now because you will need them if you want to play this deck. I mean, if you have no interest in playing the deck, then obviously you don't need to go and get them. But
the whole engine looks like it could be potentially more splashable in other decks as well, mostly the green part, because they did a lot of green cards for the Xeno. So I am actually working on something I already promised you. So by the end of this month, it is going to be up on the channel.
Yes, which is awesome.
So look forward to that, because I'm going to do the Xeno thing.
It's gonna do
with
the
a different
Xeno
leader.
thing. Yeah. And I guess, and that's also another thing, is most of these cards aren't just locked to this leader, which is really nice. Yeah. It fits thematically, and I think that's also another fun element of this deck, is it just introduces a lot. Like we said, the Dark Broly can be used in Dark Broly, and that's huge, because that is one of the best decks at the moment. It's just one of the best decks,
to point out the way the cards are... Sorry to talk over you.
No, it's fine.
But the other thing I'm going to point out here is that the way the cards are written, it's very easy to see that they're planning to make another leader for this deck.
Oh yeah, I think Mechikabura is 100% coming. Yeah. And for
technically this is Toa Mechikabura leader.
Yes, it is our first Mechikabura. It is our first Mechikabura leader, but Demon King Mechikabura is coming.
I think that at some point you will be swapping this leader for a brand new leader with maybe UW5.
Could be. Could well be.
Or maybe even UW6 if they prolong it further.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. So it is, I think, like I said, it is this convergence point for the Xeno archetype. You are going to want to pick this up if you have any interest in playing branches of the Xeno deck as Bandai are intending with this playstyle, or any other playstyle that might come out of future Unison Warriors sets.
Or, to be fair, if you just need those staple cards that are included.
Yeah, and I guess that's a really good way to...
Protector of the People, Topo, Frieza. Frieza, maybe it's not that much of a staple, but Topo and Protector of the People are pretty much staple sideboard cards.
And Dark Power Black Mask Saiyan.
And the Dark Power Black Mask Saiyan, yes.
Yeah.
Those are the cards that, even if you don't need the rest of the Xeno, if you're going to pick it up, it's going to be cheaper to pick up 2 of those decks for those singles than buy those singles.
So I guess that brings us on to... I guess that brings us on to how many of this product you should buy. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there with 2. You get 2 of everything pretty much in the deck, apart from the stuff that you get 4 of. But
the stuff you get 4 of is like 5-cent cards. So.
Yes, it is what it is. It's Frieza, you know. I mean, to be fair, one of them's a rare that you get 4 of, which is kind of nice. I didn't expect that.
Okay, but majority of the rares in the set are actually not worth that much, beside 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true.
One of them is Dragon Thunder, and the other one is Master Roshi's Mafuba.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 rares that are worth more than 20 cents. And I'm actually flabbergasted by this. And both are actually worth, I think, €3 per foil.
In foil, that's cool. So yeah, I think 2 is just... I don't think we need to say much more on that. 2 will get you a playset of everything. We've addressed how fun it is if you want to play the deck, and we've also addressed how it's worth it in the long run if you are just looking to pick up the reprints in this deck. Like, it covers its cost. almost twice-fold. So if you, and I think the last thing we need to make is a comparison to Magnificent Collection.
Magnificent Collections are a bit different. Magnificent Collection gave you an old, very good deck after it stopped being good, which is a shame. Because if they pushed it up a couple of months up, it would be way better product at the price range it was. Magnificent Collections were £40.
Yeah.
But they came with a fully built decks. You had promos, they had alt arts, but they were not really... They were like different assets, differently used assets, I guess. Because they just changed the backgrounds on the assets. They looked nice, don't get me wrong, I really like them, and I hope they would be foil.
Oh god, I know, right? I wish I had that Fu in foil.
I think that was our first reprint of Senzubin as well, which was the biggest hype of the whole product, was the reprint of Senzubin and Objection.
Rip Objection, I missed that card.
Yeah, Rip Objection by this point in time. I actually missed the card, but we would need a card that requires 2 blue and is locked into the blue leader, for example.
Yeah. So
something like that. But
my point of bringing up the Magnificent Collection was more so that this is a Magnificent Collection at a much more affordable rate and much more relevant to
it's similar to Magnificent Collection, but I wouldn't directly compare it to Magnificent Collection. I think it's a midpoint between Expert Deck and Magnificent Collection.
Okay, that's fair.
Magnificent Collection also gave you 18 new cards.
That is true. Yeah, that
were not part of the deck. They were totally
separate
different cards. So they were essentially an expansion set put into the Expert Deck.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, so an Ultimate Deck plus extra cards. Yeah, okay. So this is, you're getting rid of the extra cards and they get fused into an Expert Deck.
Exactly. You build around those extra cards, and then you don't give a random cards, like for example a field card that gives Janemba Barrier.
Yeah, okay, that's totally that makes a lot more sense. So yeah, I much prefer this way of doing product, especially if they can keep it on capitalizing on a theme they're setting up and then enhancing that theme to be even more playable and offer more playstyles. Like, I'm not sure off the top of my head, maybe an Airfling Ultimate deck would be really cool to see all of the Janemba would also be really good. I think
Janemba or generally a villain Ultimate deck that would I think AOD, if it was made as Ultimate deck, would work a bit better than the
Anniversary box.
Anniversary set, thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. An AOD Ultimate deck would be super welcome. So Bandai.
At the moment, not really, because we already got that. I don't think there is much more that can be done with it, and they made it super aggro. I'm not sure how they would come out from that.
But that's a topic for another day. I think to get back on track, let's wrap it up. Ultimate deck, is it worth it, Peter?
Yes. I mean, even if you're not going to play with the deck, picking it up and selling the singles is worth it. And I'm encouraging scalping at the moment, which I shouldn't be doing, but
yeah, you have a point, right? Those toppers alone, if you pick up 2 of those, that's 4 foil toppers, which are pretty much worth the price of admission anyway. And
Topper is still worth money because Topper is still a ridiculous card.
It's one of the best cards in this game. It just is. It just is.
Protector of the People is also
nothing to scoff at, right? Yeah, let's not
diss. There's tons of good cards in there, and you can sell all of them pretty much, because some people wouldn't want, for example, a Dark Broly player wouldn't want to pick up a whole Ultimate deck, or couldn't pick up the whole Ultimate deck, and then you can just sell them the Dark Broly bits that you don't need.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm very much emphatic of the whole Xena archetype. I love everything about it. I will fangirl it to no end, so I'm naturally picking 2 of these up. I got one off Bandai, which is also really handy, so thank you so much to them for doing that. It's super cool, and it's super appreciated. And if you want to know more about the Xenoverse timeline, the heroes, shenanigans that go on, please keep tuned to the channel. We have some stuff about Shadow Dragons and a character that I think is going to play a key role coming in Universe Warrior 5. So Well, some teasers there. Some teasers. We'll talk to you next time, Peter. Any final words on the Ultimate deck?
Yes, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to live. Please live for us.
Live for London Players Guild.
Leave a like. And let us know down in the comments what do you think about the Ultimate decks. We are looking forward to hearing what do you think about this. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe to our channel. It does help us grow it, and then we can start bringing you even more content, and hopefully soon enough, an actual gameplay.
Yes. We'll see you soon, guys. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.